Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Georgina Ray toko ingoa. Hi everyone, I'm Georgina and I'm presenting with my colleague Will today this presentation, Rolling Out New Kit for NZ Data Scientists, a user-centered approach. I guess for many institutions around the world, eResearch centres, HPC centres, there's a massive increase at the moment going on, a massive growth in researchers wanting to apply machine learning techniques to their research. And it's really forcing us to take another look at the services that we provide these researchers. That can be anything from, more interactive ways to access the compute, to different types of software. And it's also a broader set of researchers needing the skills to access this. And I guess finally, we can't forget it's different types of hardware as well. So for NeSI, it's an organizational priority that we focus on the data science community at the moment, mainly because it is a new community that's not well looked after at the moment. There's a variety of tactics that we can apply here, from training, software stacks, outreach activity, but let's not forget that we can also buy some cool new kit. So earlier this year, well, starting late last year, we decided to make a seed investment into new A100 technology. And this was really to understand, would this technology actually be useful for our machine learning community? We assume yes, but let's prove it. And if we can prove that, then we're in a position to procure more. One thing to keep in the back of our minds is that we'd seen with our existing investment into GPUs, this was P100s a few years ago, they really weren't utilised as much as we'd expected. Yeah, it was really quite surprising. They weren't getting much uptake, even though everyone's telling us we need more GPUs or we need GPUs. So we knew we had to do something a bit different.
Kia ora everyone, Will here. And so along with doing something different, we also wanted to experiment and with a different approach. I guess as an organisation, NeSI is aiming to apply some different practices using Agile and product management. And we wanted to bring that through really here to test out some of those. So we wanted to make sure that the capabilities provided by these new GPUs were actually designed and configured around what the user needed, and that they were being utilized early on. We've had some times in the past where we've gone and put something in and then going, okay, now we need to get people along to it. So we wanted to try and reduce that handoff and that wait time between things. So we really wanted to focus in on around having that. We want to build something, measure it as soon as we can and learn from it so we can keep iterating on things. So to go with that approach, we also needed to adapt ourselves a little bit. So there's some hats of responsibilities, and it's sometimes changed for some people here at NeSI. And so my role in it was being around an Agile coach, which was really trying to help form the team and make sure that the process we took was a success. And for you, George?
Yeah, so for me, I was the product owner for the advanced GPU capability work that we were doing. So essentially that was focusing on the new A100s. And this really focuses on product success. And to be perfectly honest, as the engagement manager at NeSI, it wasn't totally obvious that I'd be the person helping to drive rolling out the new A100s for users. No technical background, but what I do have from my role is a keen sort of user focus, and that was exactly what we needed to bring into this project. So one of the first things that we knew we had to do was set a clear goal for the team that was going to be working on this. What are we actually trying to achieve here? And on this slide, it covers, you won't actually be able to read it, but On the left was one of our first sprint goals, really, and this was around getting ourselves market ready. Yes, that's sort of quite commercial language, but essentially it was making sure that we were ready to put these GPUs out into the research sector, ready for use. And so what we wanted to do here was focus in on a carefully selected, diverse group of research projects, essentially, that could test out these GPUs and really identify any challenges that we were going to have before we went to a proper launch. And then once we had done that, and we had a clear set of tasks that we, things that we wanted to see done in order to move past that goal, that's when we went into market launch phase. And so by having this clarity for the team, they knew exactly where to prioritize their energy. But it was really difficult to keep visibility of these goals in front of the team all the time. Useful to come back to as often as possible, but not always easy. And I guess the other real challenge here was articulating what done looks like. So when can we move on to the next phase?
And so along with having a clear goal, we need a clear team. So there are a few things we're sort of really highlighting here. The first on the left being around trying to build a team around the goal, but also a team that would really help to carry that through after the launch, after these things are available to users. So we can sometimes talk about a product team or a project team, and we really wanted to try and adopt a product team sort of mindset, a team of some core cross-functional members that had a varied range of expertise that would not only help us deliver this initially, but to kind of continue carrying along, building that knowledge and iterating on what offering we gave to the users. And so, it was a challenge trying to identify and work through who those people were, but it takes kind of effort to keep the momentum going, and it was sort of trying to really bring people to the goal that helped us work through that. The piece in the middle was around trying to actually understand how the team felt about this, because for some people it's a bit of a change, and I just sort of wanted to highlight one thing that came through was sort of that willingness to adopt a different approach there. It was really nice to see someone else in the team explain why we're taking a different approach to things who wasn't myself. It's a challenge to break old habits, and it's one of those things we've all got to learn something new on. And over on the right was really around kind of a bit more of our practice that we did day to day. We are using a piece of software called Jira, which some of you might be familiar with, but we wanted to try and visualize the work that was going on. And so using a Kanban methodology to actually understand what all those tasks were that we needed to do to try and achieve the goal that we were running at. And along with that, we started out early on with some daily 15-minute stand-up meetings throughout the week, which helped us actually rehearse what work it was, really try and understand that, build up that knowledge of how we're working and what we're working towards achieving. So, over time, we started to reduce some of those, the frequency of those stand-ups as it became a little bit more normal. And at the end of it, we sort of worked out, well, more frequency early on is good. We need to try and reinforce what needs to be done and how we work. And over time, we can adapt that depending on the needs of everything else.
So one of the other things that we've already mentioned it, right? We really wanted to keep a key focus on the users and what their requirements were. Idea being, if we design a service that fits those needs, they'll actually be able to get some benefit from it. So really early on in that first sort of pilot phase where we worked with just a small group of researchers, clearly we were focusing on them. There were just a handful. We paired them up with one of our research software engineers or our technical support team, whoever was most relevant for that research group or domain. And it was a really high touch, sort of high engagement, interaction. We were helping them get the most out of them. We were trying to identify challenges that they were having. And as soon as we found out a challenge, it would go straight into Slack. It would go straight into the team so that we could learn from that. Now, in that early phase, one of the things that we identified that we hadn't expected was some challenges around software versioning. So, it's always a challenge when you port to a new technology that your software is not going to be spot on. There's a bit of work to do, but we worked out that there were actually some surprising version limitations with these A100s and some really basic sort of data science software. So we were able to help the researchers with that and also articulate that to anyone using the A100s in the future so that they didn't have that similar negative experience. Moving on in terms of user focus, we also, as we went to launch, we targeted in on the machine learning community really. And this was both because there was limited capacity, but also because of that data science priority that we'd identified as the organization. So always really focusing on who the users are that we're looking to benefit here and how we can help them. That's that user focus.
So the last goal that we really want to highlight was around the activity after the launch. We talked a lot about creating goals around getting to the launch and building the team and bringing some users on early. So what happened after? And I think we really just wanted to try and bring that same mindset through. As we'd established a cross-functional team that was more focused on a product that they were looking after. So we wanted to continue to build on that, iterate it, measure based on changes and learn after we launch. So we took one of those stand-up meetings that we were doing, which was more delivery focused, and we adapted that to be looking into some of the reporting that was starting to come out and really focusing a wider group of NeSI team members from that point in time too, that could help us analyze what we were seeing in terms of usage and other aspects of the technology. So we now have a weekly insights session where we get together with a bunch of people to look at things, try and understand what's going on, which then helps us prioritize some of those tasks that we need to go and deliver on, which takes place on a Monday stand-up. So we've got this weekly kind of cadence going on around insights and analysis on a Wednesday and delivery on a Monday. So that's kind of how we're really trying to carry through a bit of that momentum. And George, I might just pass back to you quickly. What have we sort of seen come out of the insights?
But one of the early things that we found, we were doing all of this work because we didn't want to put in a bunch of kit that no one would use. So we were really watching the utilization from day, well, T minus 5 days probably. We had eyes on the prize of let's watch as these things get smashed by all those people who have been waiting for them. And we didn't see it. And so what we needed to do was we looked at the data of wait times and we wondered if people knew that we had them. And in the end, what we actually did that was most useful was we reached out to our users. So we went out to our user base and said, and asked them, how come you're not using these? And for the majority of researchers, it wasn't wait times. It wasn't that they didn't know. It was purely that they weren't ready to. And so while it's a little bit of an anticlimactic finding, it was nice for us to know that what the reason was that they weren't using the new A100s this week, the week that we launched, and that use was to come, and it did. So really useful for us to understand things there. Right, what next for us? So Will has already talked about that post-launch phase, trying to continue the momentum of delivering value to that data science community through GPU technology. This slide just shows a bunch of thinking that we've done here. And yes, there are more GPUs in our future. We've made the decision to invest in additional A100 technology. But we're also thinking more broadly about what the data science space needs and how we might meet that. So that's the work that continues for us.